The House of Representatives is going to be fast-tracking a vote next week on a bill that could lead to a national ban on TikTok. TikTok is messaging users, urging them to call Congress and oppose this bill. And for a closer look on this right now, we want to bring in Congresswoman Cathy McMorris Rodgers of Washington State. She chairs the House Energy and Commerce Committee, which voted unanimously to approve that measure yesterday. And, Chair, thank you for joining us this morning. Let's dig into this a little bit because there have been so many states and national representatives who have talked about the possibility of banning TikTok. This came a lot closer than people might have anticipated. This was a unanimous vote, 50-0. In your committee to push this out, and there's a vote coming to the full Congress. What do you anticipate the vote on the full floor will be?
Well, I think that the vote in committee, the unanimous 50-0 vote in committee underscores the concerns, the national security concerns related to apps that are controlled by foreign adversaries. And that includes TikTok, but it is foreign adversaries that are using apps to collect, to manipulate, to surveil on Americans through the data that they are collecting. And we had a classified hearing yesterday. The members responded to that, and we're moving quickly on the floor because of the national security threat that's posed by these apps. This is not a ban. This would be a choice for TikTok, whether or not it remains controlled by the CCP through ByteDance, or if it decides to divest and to continue to be operational in the United States of America. But it's their choice.
ByteDance, the Chinese company that controls TikTok, has said it's not sharing any information with its users with the Chinese Communist Party, but it also says that the Chinese Communist Party might not let them divest TikTok. So what's your response? Do you know differently?
Well, the TikTok has repeatedly been caught in this lie that it is not controlled by the Chinese Communist Party through ByteDance. We know from internal recordings that from employees that are saying everything is seen by China. This is the way that China operates. This is the way that they treat their own citizens. They surveil on their own citizens, and they cannot be trusted to safeguard American data or to protect our American values like freedom.
Congresswoman, it's hard to decide what to do. Everybody wants to allow corporations, even if they're not U.S. We don't want to ban corporations. We don't want to ban free speech. And TikTok very effectively has reached me with their ads now. They've got this cute little nun that's doing a bunch of good works that she needs TikTok to do that. Have you seen that? She's got, there's another one we're talking about, a neurosurgeon who lost his son in a drunk driving accident, and he's been able to reach people so that trying to make it, I mean, they're very smooth and sort of, I don't know if it's conniving, but is this the CCP tugging on my heartstrings to allow TikTok to remain so that we don't do anything about it?
Well, just because they say it doesn't make it true. And they are collecting massive amounts of data, 170 million users that are on TikTok. This is how China operates. This is how the CCP operates. And they are using this to surveil, to target and manipulate data. We saw a real-time example yesterday when we were in the middle of this hearing and markup where users on TikTok were blocked from being able to get onto the app until they called their representative and told them to not support this legislation. That was one real-time example of how they can manipulate Americans for their own purposes.
And by the way, that was a pretty effective campaign. The Washington Post is reporting that some congressional offices were getting as many as 20 calls per minute from TikTok users saying, don't take my TikTok away. So do you think that that sort of pressure is going to change the vote on the full floor?
Well, it was clear that they were able to weaponize their tool to motivate a lot of people to call. Many offices were saying that it was more calls than they'd ever received. But it just underscores how this can be used for their own purposes. And I would just this is not about targeting TikTok. This is about a national security threat. TikTok is a tool of the Chinese Communist Party. The legislation is about banning applications that are controlled by foreign adversaries like China that pose a national security threat to the United States of America. But TikTok has a choice to make here. They can divest. They can divest from ByteDance and continue to operate in the United States of America, or they can remain under the control of ByteDance and ultimately the Chinese Communist Party.
Chair, let's just talk about this. It's not enough to get it past the House. Obviously, an impressive vote in committee, 50-0. But you need not only the House to vote on this next week, but then the Senate to come up with a similar law, or a similar bill, and then send the whole thing to the presidency. What are the odds that this is passed into law in the next 3 or 4 months?
Well, our goal is to get this legislation onto the president's desk. There's been many bills introduced in the House and the Senate related to the concern about foreign adversaries that are collecting massive amounts of data, 170 million users, for example, through TikTok, and how they are using that data against Americans. Even last night, I was having conversations with senators on the House floor while we were watching the State of the Union, related to how they also want to engage on this legislation because of the serious concern, the national security threat that poses when foreign adversaries are able to collect this kind of data. I'm very hopeful that we are going to get a bill on the president's desk ultimately. We've also been working with the White House. The White House has given a lot of technical assistance because this is a targeted, specific approach because of constitutional concerns. We want to make sure that we are focused on the national security threat that an application poses when it's collecting this data on Americans, but is ultimately controlled by a foreign adversary.
Right, which I guess is why nobody really wants to call it the TikTok ruling, because that's a little too narrow. It's got to be broader than that. But Chair McMorris Rodgers, want to thank you for joining us. This is about the only issue that seems to have complete bipartisan support in Washington these days.